I tried everything specialists, trainers, crate and rotate. And then one night, everything fell apart anyway.
Welcome to The Dog Who Asked for More, the podcast for dog parents navigating the messy, complicated parts of life with a dog who needs more, so you can feel less alone in the hard parts, more confident in your decisions, and more connected to the dog who asked you to show up differently.
I'm Em, a dog mom, dog trainer, and canine nutritionist who works with dog parents learning to live differently because of their dog. I've talked about Izzy once before, way back on an early episode with a guest, but I've never told the whole story, and I think that it's time. Izzy came into my life when I lived in Texas. I got her from a farm, saw a flyer, went out there, and brought her home. And for a while, it was fine. But at around the time that she was 3, she started attacking my other dog, Fiona, who was 2, the one I rescued from somebody who was going to shoot her if no one took her. I had tried everything, multiple trainers, a specialist who trained police dogs, every protocol I could find back in 2009. Nothing worked. It kept escalating. And I knew something was wrong that wasn't going to be fixed by training. What I believed then and what I still believe now is that Izzy had idiopathic aggression, something neurological, something that wasn't her fault and wasn't my fault and wasn't fixable. I wanted to rehome her. I thought that it was the right call. But my ex-husband, he said no. So we kept going, crate and rotate, constant management, constant vigilance for years. 3 months after my brain surgery, I was still recovering, still healing, still not supposed to be under significant stress, and my ex was out of town for work. My oldest stepdaughter and I had a miscommunication about the crate and rotate schedule. The dogs got into a fight. It was really bad. Fiona had to go to emergency surgery at 10 p.m. I called the veterinarian I used to work for and got her in immediately. And then, shortly after, I had to make a decision about Izzy that I wanted to make years earlier and hadn't been allowed to. Behavioral euthanasia. I was so angry and so overwhelmed and so exhausted that I couldn't stay with her at the end. I dropped her off and I left. And I have carried that guilt around for about 15 years. That she died without me there, that I wasn't able to give her that the anger I felt in that moment took something from her that I can never give back. I'm telling you this because I think that there are people listening right now, and it might even be you, who are in a version of this, who know something isn't working, who have tried everything and are watching the situation escalate and feel trapped by circumstances, by finances, by a partner who sees it differently, by housing that won't take another dog, by 100 things that make the obvious decision impossible to actually make. And I want you to know that being in that place doesn't make you a bad dog parent. It makes you someone navigating an impossible situation with imperfect options. And those are very different things. I also want to say directly, rehoming and behavioral euthanasia are not the same decision. They are not equivalent, and neither one is automatically wrong. The hardest thing about both is that they require you to hold the full reality of what's happening with your dog and make a call based on what's actually true, not what you wish were true, not what someone else is telling you should be true. The story doesn't end with Izzy. Fiona survived her surgery and we moved forward to Iowa, back in with my parents while I waited for my rental to be finished. 2 weeks in, my parents let their dogs approach Fiona in a way I had specifically said not to. And there was an incident, and Fiona and their dog both died the next day. I had rescued Fiona from someone who was going to shoot her. I had given her almost 6 years. I had gotten her through emergency surgery. And then 2 weeks into what was supposed to be a fresh start for me, she was gone. I don't have a clean way to hold that. I still don't. I just know that it happened and it's part of the story, and pretending it didn't doesn't serve anyone. Here's what I want you to sit with, because this is the part that doesn't get talked about. When you're in a situation that isn't working and you can't make the decision you believe is right because something or someone is stopping you, what do you do with that? How do you keep going? How do you keep loving the dog in front of you while managing the situation you're stuck inside? There's not an easy answer. You just do it. You manage. You show up. You make the best call available to you in the moment with what you have. And sometimes the best call available isn't the call you would have chosen. and you have to carry that. And what I've come to understand imperfectly over time is the guilt I carry about Izzy isn't really about not staying. It's about the years before, the situation I couldn't resolve, the decision that wasn't mine to make, the feeling that if I had been able to act earlier, things might have gone differently. Maybe they would have, maybe they wouldn't. I don't know, and I never will. What I know is that I did everything available to me at the time, and that has to be enough. Not because it resolves the guilt, just because it's true. Doing everything available to you at the time, even when it isn't everything you would have chosen, is still doing everything you could. Those aren't the same thing, but they're also not nothing. If you're sitting with a decision right now, rehoming, behavioral euthanasia, or something else entirely, I want you to hear this. The decision you make from a place of honest assessment of what's actually happening is not the same as giving up. It's not abandonment. It's not failure. What it is one of the hardest things a person who loves animals can be asked to do. And the fact that it's hard is proof that you're taking it seriously, that you understand the weight of it, that you're not taking it lightly. I also want to say if someone else is making that decision for you by not letting you make that decision, that's its own kind of carrying. And it's okay to name that it's hard, that the situation isn't fully yours to resolve, that you're doing what you can inside constraints that weren't your choice. I also had a client who recently came to me considering rehoming. Not because of aggression, but because of what she called inconvenient behavior, hard behavior, exhausting behavior. And what we found, the dog didn't need a new home. The dog needed a different level of support. And once they put it into place and she had it, the thought of rehoming completely dissolved. Not every situation is an Izzy situation. Some of them are just hard seasons that look permanent when you're inside of them. And knowing which one you're in matters. Are you in an impossible situation or a hard season? And do you have someone honest enough to help you tell the difference? If you've made a hard decision about a dog or you're in the middle of one, I want you to know that carrying it doesn't mean you did it wrong. Sometimes love looks like the hardest call, and sometimes you make that call with things you wish you could change, and you carry it, and you keep going, because that's what this asks of you. And if you're sitting there thinking, I don't know if what I'm dealing with is workable or if I'm just in a hard season, that's exactly the kind of clarity a call with me is designed to give you. The link to book is in the episode description. So be kind, spread joy, and remember, staying when it was hard and leaving when you had to are both acts of love. And you get to hold both of those things at the same time.